What is going on to all my MCU low-key Marvel fans out there, and welcome back to our live stream discussions that we hold every single Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Time. It is my favorite day of the week because we're talking Marvel, and I love me some Marvel, even though I'm rocking a DC shirt. I love me some Marvel, and I love me some Loki in particular, and I'm so excited to be talking about tonight's episode because it seems like this episode has been kind of divisive. I've seen some people love the episode, some people hate it, call it filler, call it this, that, and the third, but we are going to break it all down and have a good discussion with you all about this episode. And of course, give you guys our thoughts and our theories and our predictions, all that fun stuff. But hey, we don't do this by myself. I have an incredible co-host that comes with me every single Thursday on this journey, as well as special guests. So we're going to bring them in a little bit. But hey, if you guys are tuning in live, number one, happy Thursday. Hope your day's going great. Appreciate you guys stopping by, showing some support, showing some love for Loki, as well as these awesome content creators that we bring on the stream. So hey, make sure you're liking the video, sharing the video live. Just light up the chat. I want to read all your comments, your theories, all the stuff you guys have to say about the show and all that fun stuff. So let's have a good discussion. If you're watching us on the replay, if you can do the same, it'll be greatly appreciated. So enough of me yapping. Let me bring in my incredible co-host, starting off with one of my favorite people that I have gotten to know in this last year. She has her own YouTube channel, has some great reviews. She does some great writings as well. She writes her reviews. She's on everyone's stream that I know on the internet, and she does a great job of feeling a part of the community and having some great takes. Glad to have her back, rocking her low-key hat, talking about the one and only Amanda. What's going on?
Hey, happy to be back. Love these Thursdays with all of you. And of course, I have my merch going on.
Rocking
Check it out.
Is that from a friend of ours too, by the way?
It's from a friend of ours on Instagram at @StefanoBolve_art. You should go check that out. So yeah, I had to rock it tonight. So
awesome. Hey, we gave one of those hats away last week to CG. So I'm glad that Amanda's rocking the awesome gear that incredible artist makes. So hey, Amanda, hey, you want to let the people know where they can find you, what your channel is about? Let them know.
Yeah, for sure. You guys can always find me over at AMXND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. My YouTube was over at Candid Cinema. I have my Loki reviews of episode 2 and 3 up right now. You can always check out my latest reviews over at candidxcinema.com. I rant, I rave, I write reviews, interviews, articles, all that stuff. But I have all my hot takes on Twitter, so go follow me there.
Definitely. She has some great takes, but I think she said she has some hot takes too. And I'm really excited to hear your thoughts on this episode of Loki, because I hadn't seen, I didn't see your Twitter thread. I haven't seen your review quite yet, but I'm really excited to know what you thought about this episode, Amanda. But not only do we have Amanda, that's an incredible co-host, but we also have my boy representing the East Coast. He has some great takes. He covers a lot of great things on his channel, and he just brings a lot of energy and some great takes on this topic, which is Loki. I'm talking about my man from New York, Chris Tait. What's going on, man?
Gang.
What up, man? What's going on, man?
What's up? Happy Thursday, my guy.
Happy Thursday, man. We're talking Loki. Are you excited, my friend?
I'm always excited to talk about Loki, and I am interested to see if we're divided. We haven't been divided really this much on this show yet, so I'm trying to see if this is going to be the week that everybody gets shaken up. But
we'll see, man. Because this episode definitely shook some stuff up, and some reveals and some stuff that we got. So, hey, Chris, man, if you want to let the people know where they can find you and what you're about, man, do me a favor and let them know.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I'm at Tait's Take. You can see all my information is in the bio to this video. My YouTube channel, I do movie reviews, TV reviews. Try to give you a little background. Just trying to let you know if it's worth checking out or not. My information, if you guys want to contact me, is all in the bio too. So I got Instagram, I got Twitter. You guys can find me all there. But I'm really excited to be a part of the journey here. So let's get it going.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we got our co-hosts, Amanda and Chris. Again, guys, check out their links are in the bio. You will not be disappointed from their amazing content. But we always like to bring in some guests, and I like to bring in some guests that we've had on previous shows as well. And these two are no stranger to the channel. But it's been a minute since we've seen this content creator here. She is so great. Not only does she have her own outlet that she covers movies and TV shows, she joins on other people's streams and talks about movies and shows, but she also does incredible interviews with a lot of the content creators that we love. Directors, actors, producers, you name it. Such a great follow on Instagram, on Twitter, all that great stuff. I'm talking about the one and only Kay-B. How we doing?
Hey.
Thanks
for having me again.
No doubt. It's been a minute, Kay-B. Like I said, I think it's been since WandaVision, since we've had you on the channel, and we got you talking some Loki. So I'm so excited to have you on, Kay-B.
I am so excited to be here to chat all things Loki. Really digging the show so far.
It's been so far so good, but again, we got tonight to talk about and see how you guys are feeling. But hey, KB, if this is the first time someone's tuning in and seeing you on the stream, why don't you let them know where they can find you and all that great stuff?
Yeah, so I am on Instagram and Twitter at the Lady Kay-B. It's right there, but TheLadyKayb. I post all of my interviews on Twitter and, may or may not just retweet things that I love. And you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel through the lens of Lady Kay-B. So if you're looking for reviews, if you're looking for interviews and things of that nature, I'm there. And I also have my video playlist where I guest on everyone's show. So I'm going to drop this in a playlist as well and plug it. I do the Real Critics Roundtable with Reggie Ponder every Friday, almost every Friday. And we cover tons and tons of TV and film reviews on there every week. And then, of course, I co-host Super Lady Hero Hour. We have our own YouTube channel, so you can subscribe to that as well with my lovely co-host, Yel Teagle. We talk everything superhero content every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. And we just dropped our Loki episode 3 review. So you can check that out after you check this out.
Definitely check her out, guys. Again, she, as you just see, she covers a lot of stuff. She's on a lot of different platforms and she does a great job of doing so. So definitely check her out. And last but not least, this gentleman has been on the channel quite a few times. He has his own outlets, YouTube, great TikTok, even though TikTok tries to hold my man down with all the great stuff that he has to drop, whether it be comic book information, bringing some new stuff. He loves the same stuff I love, sci-fi, blood, guts. He's going to have to say the mantra because he has a really great quote that I love him saying, but I'm so glad to have him back. I'm talking about the one and only Michael from BlackGayComicGeek. What's going on, my friend?
Hey. How you doing?
Doing good. I see you rocking the Loki gear.
Yeah,
I
got the Loki gear. I got the green lights in the back. I hope my batteries don't die. It's been a while since I charged them.
Yeah, man. Michael, it's so good to see you, man. I've been popping into the streams that you've been hosting for the show. Seems like you've been liking it as well. But I didn't watch last night's episode because I want to see what your thought was on the episode. So, Michael, man, so glad to have you back. If you want to let the people know where they can find you, the stage is yours, my friend.
It's going to be a good discussion. Elliot, as always, I always appreciate you having me on here. As you can see, my name is BlackGayComicGeek. I'm black, I'm gay, I like comics. And I mostly talk about like the mantra that Elliot mentioned. Anything that has blood, sex, gore, and magic. If it has that, I'm interested in it. But yeah, I talk about anything fantasy related, nerd related. And I mostly also like to talk about the lack thereof of queer and black representation in these fantasy properties. So I go off about that. Some people don't like that, but guess what? I'm still going to talk about it. So yeah, you join me when I talk about that on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. And I still have to do my Luca review because I've been struggling with that because, I work overnight. So that's coming soon. So be on the lookout for that because that movie was gay as hell. And so I'm going to talk about it. So yeah, just be on the lookout for that.
No doubt, man. Again, for Amanda, Chris, Kay-B, and Michael, guys, check out their links, check out their reviews, give them a thumbs up, share it. You will not be disappointed. Some great people, but also some amazing content creators. I'm so glad to have them on tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got our third episode of Low-Key. This is, if we're following the format of movies, this is the second half of the movie, the third episode, Lamentis, which pretty much shows our two variant Low-Keys on this planet that is about to destroy an apocalyptic, hiding in apocalypse, and it looks like they might not make it out, but we know they're going to make it out. We'll get to all that stuff, but this is a really interesting episode. So, guys, again, I want to say what's up to everyone in the chat before we go live, and before we get into the discussion, starting with you, Amanda. Initial take coming away from the episode. Again, it was about 43 minutes. You take away those 7-minute credits, we're looking at about 37 minutes. What was your initial reaction after you got done press and play on this third episode of Loki?
I was literally like, oh, okay, that's it. And I'm serious. Like, I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. There were great pieces of dialogue and conversations that were had. But I was just like, oh, okay, they're stuck there. This was the episode. I felt like the pacing was a bit inconsistent. And it was an okay episode. And I know that like 4, 5, and 6 they're going to ramp everything up. So I guess like this was needed to kind of introduce Sylvie and Loki. And it was what it was. It was good. It was a good third episode.
I agree a lot with what you said there, man. And the pacing was a little bit off. Also, the production. I don't know if it was just me. Some of those like visual effects of like where they're like the background and certain stuff look a little like this is Marvel. Why is it? But the stuff with Sylvie and Loki really sold me on this episode, and obviously that big reveal that we got about the timekeepers. But I know, like I said, this has been kind of an interesting episode. I can't wait to break it down more in depth with you. But same question to you, Chris, man. Just your initial reaction after watching this episode.
Yeah, I felt the same way. Hold on, my man. What's up? Hey.
There he is.
I felt the same way. Number one, about the length of the episode, because I was under the impression that, oh wow, these episodes are much longer, But then I like it was done, and I was like, I had paused it, so I was like, damn, man, did I like skip something? And then I clicked it. It was literally like 36 minutes. I was like, damn, where the rest of my minutes at? But I didn't hate the episode, but I can see why people would call it filler. Like I know the internet was going back and forth with it. There's some important stuff in it. And I still like it, but it's like I think because the episodes 1 and 2 were so strong, in my opinion, it's like of course we're gonna violate episode 3, but if we think back to like what Wanda episode 1 and 2 gave us, we didn't give it that same kind of static. So it's kind of like we're like a victim of like how good the show is to kind of violate on 3, but that's kind of where I was with it. Like I can see why it's called filler by some people, but there was some important things in the episode. But it's out to me, it's the weakest one so far. But that doesn't mean that it is weak.
I agree, man. And for me personally, that filler, I think sometimes people just use filler just like if it doesn't hit all the beats, like filler is the word to use, the key word to hit. Yeah. But it does have some moments where obviously it's a gift and a curse with Marvel, right? Because we all think that everything is so integral to the greater good of the MCU. But sometimes when you have a character, this is called Loki, not the Timekeepers, and featuring Loki. This episode really did play on the character development. But we'll get into all that when we break it all down. But same question to UKB as far as just initial reaction after watching the episode.
Yeah, I liked it. I agree with everyone's points thus far. Like it definitely pacing wise wasn't my favorite, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a filler episode just because it does move the plot points and we do kind of move the narrative forward. I think for me, when I think of a filler episode, it literally does nothing in terms of like where we're headed and where we're going, but we needed to know certain things about Sylvie and we needed to know certain things about this variant of Loki as well. I think that are going to be key moving forward in the next episode. So, I mean, I had a good time, it had action. It gave us some reveals, which again, that big reveal with the timekeepers at the end, I think was worth everything because I think it dramatically shifts what you think about the entire series thus far.
Totally agree with you, KB. Yeah, this is an important episode, and again, just like Mobius said in episode 1, what makes a Loki tick? And I think this episode kind of showed us what makes a Loki, and obviously what we get with Tom Hiddleston. Obviously, learning more about Sylvie. So this was a very good character episode to me. But Michael, man, before we jump into it, man, same question for you, my friend. Just your initial reaction after watching this 3rd episode.
Okay, so after the cliffhanger that was episode 2.
Yep.
And Lady Loki bombing all the timelines and everything like that. And then the way it just ended, I was super hyped for this 3rd episode. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be on Movie Files for episode 3. Let's go. Elliot, Chris, Amanda Fisto, and Kay, official, nice to meet you. But the quote, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain. Well, I guess for this one, I'm going to be the villain because I did not like this episode at all. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate this episode. I didn't think it was trash like a lot were saying. But I was like, and we had some like a one major reveal, and there was some good character moments, but I was like, nothing happened. Like, what was this episode? Like, I watched this episode after, and I watched it at work, and I was like, I'd rather be working right now because this episode was boring. Like, I did watch it a second time, and I will admit, after watching it the second time, I didn't dislike it as much. Now that my expectations were already tampered, but I was still just like, I would never go back and watch this episode again. But I would still watch episodes 1 and 2 again. So that's ultimately, like I said, I didn't hate it, but it wasn't. It wasn't my vibe.
I love it. And we're going to break it all down to see exactly what was some of the moments, the lines, the scenes that didn't work for you. And who knows, maybe by the end of this conversation, we'll see if Michael can change his mind. We'll see, ladies and gentlemen. But hey, let's get into this recap. Again, this episode was titled Lamentis, which again, I know we got a lot of comic book experts on the panel. To my knowledge, this is the first time we've ever heard of this planet in the MCU, but I think it's a planet that's been known to be associated with the Kree. I don't know if you guys have any insights on that. Is that something you guys are familiar with, this Lamentis, this planet?
No, I looked at it. I was like, I've never heard of this planet.
Yeah,
but like,
and
it turns out it was like in one issue of one random Elseworld, like what if type of story. So yeah, it doesn't really have any giant play in the MCU, which made me wonder, like, why this is the most obscure Easter egg.
That's where I'm like, why this planet? There has to be something unique about Lamentis that we might find out next week. But as we kind of get into it again, this episode shows our two variant Lokis getting into this hiding apocalypse from the TVA. But we start off with an interesting moment here. We see Sylvie in street clothes. We see, Hunter C20 played by Sasha Lang. I was kind of confused. I'm like, is this a flashback? Were they friends before this whole situation?
Yeah.
But as we kind of see this development happening, they're drinking margaritas, and slowly we say, okay, this isn't right. Something's going wrong. She asks her a question about, the TVA. Where can she find, or she asks a question where she can find the timekeepers, and she kind of realizes, wait, this isn't right. Why everything feels normal, but you don't feel normal. I don't know you, but we see the enchantment powers working to its advantage, and she inevitably does give away. The only thing she gives her in regards to, you can go to the elevator. So from last week's stream, Chris and Amanda, remember I was asking, she kept saying, it's real. So now I don't know if that refers to it's real, like she had a real life before this, obviously being mind controlled by the TVA, or it's real, whatever the situation is. But starting with you, Amanda, as we open up this episode and seeing the enchantment powers being used on C20, what was your thoughts about this whole sequence here?
See, I thought this was a really strong opening because we got to see her powers and what they do. It kind of reminded me of the dinner scene in WandaVision when she kind of fell out of it and she was asking those questions. So I thought that it was really cool that it kind of did this for this episode. The whole it's real. She could be talking about like Sylvie's powers, maybe. I don't know, because like she kind of like clued into that, like something was happening, something wrong was happening. Right. But I thought that they started off strong, and then obviously what happens afterwards when she actually goes into the TVA, like I thought it was really good, and I love seeing that. And Sophia DiMartino has done a fantastic job within the small time that she's been on screen, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the second half of what she's capable of.
Yeah, those enchantment powers are pretty lethal.
Yeah,
to get in your head, to find a memory that you can relate to, and to get this valuable information. Again, it speaks to C20 just knowing where, well, at least she thinks she knows where the timekeepers are, which I guess we'll obviously see where that goes. But Chris, tossing it to you, my man, in regards to seeing this enchantment taking place, and just were you kind of thrown off like I was? Like, were they friends? Did they know each other prior to this? Just your thoughts on this opening sequence, man.
No, the opening threw me off crazy. Like, it took me like a second to catch up. I don't have a lot of opinion about this opening. I don't think it was a great opening compared to the other two episodes we've seen. But I guess it was like important for us to understand like the extent of her powers, and just to find out more about the C20 angle. But I was like, this is how we're starting, and I didn't get the chance to watch. This episode was probably the only one I haven't watched twice yet, so I probably need to do that at some point. But I was just like, I didn't understand. Like it didn't come in hard.
Gotcha. Kay-B, are you the same boat with my man Chris, or did you feel like it was a pretty interesting way? Because Chris did allude to it, them showing her abilities and seeing what it looks like to be enchanted, and see how like detailed it is to kind of get you something to feel familiar, to give the information. But what did you think about this opening?
I mean, honestly, I thought this opening was kind of just middle of the road. Like, it wasn't fantastic to me, but it wasn't awful. It just kind of was what it was. Obviously, to your point, we've seen kind of enchantment powers happening in WandaVision. Yeah. So I actually kind of like now that we led with WandaVision first, just for people who may not be familiar with the comics. So then seeing this, you kind of get an idea of what's happening. I did like that in every single frame that we were looking at, it was different. There were some differences in what you were seeing. And so that's how I think Hunter C20 eventually realizes like, oh, this isn't real because this looks different and this is different. And I don't actually know you. And why do you keep asking me these questions? So I do kind of think that like, so yeah, Sylvie does enchantment, but I think that's really just the tip of the iceberg of her particular powers. And I'm like, cool, we started with that, but let's see more.
And something you mentioned too, KB, that I really liked about this episode, and something I'm excited for Phase 4 is the use of magic. There's been kind of a fear of using magic in the MCU prior to even Wanda, but now we're kind of diving deeper into witches and magic and enchantment powers and all that different stuff. So I do like how they displayed Sylvie's as well as Loki's powers, and powers that we've never seen in him use in the MCU. So that was something I really enjoyed, which we'll talk a little bit more in depth with later. But Michael, man, I know this wasn't the episode for you quite yet, but opening, man, how did you feel about it in regards to this sequence here?
I mean, I'm kind of with Chris in the sense that I was a little confused by the opening. Like when it happened, I didn't realize it was C20 at first. Like as soon as I saw Sylvie, I was like, oh, so are we just getting a flashback and more information about her life? I was like, are they on a date right now? Like, are they gonna give me what they didn't give me with Captain Marvel and Maria? So I was like, wait, never mind. But I was kind of interested in where they were going because it almost gave me a little horror, psychedelic thriller type of vibes when she started saying where are the timekeepers, and then the kind of mood and tone kind of shifted and everything like that. So I thought it was an interesting start. I didn't think it was a strong start, but I was interested to see where it would go from here, and then it was just like.
Got you, man. Got you. And a couple other people say, kind of in the same boat with you guys. Some people really enjoyed the opening. Some people were kind of like a little on the fence about it. Some people say they want to watch it for the third time. But yeah, a lot of, again, it's so interesting to see because I have a feeling like Kay-B mentioned that we are just scratching the surface with her powers and see what she can really do. And the question we'll get to a little bit later is, because Phase 4 to me is like a passing of the baton situation, whether it be Black Widow and her younger sister, Hawkeye and Kate Bishop. Yeah. Are we going to be replacing Loki with Sylvie? With Sylvie, and if it's something that we can accept in the MCU? So I think seeing her powers and this scratching surface, I think is something exciting to see what she can do, and if the fans will accept her as potentially our new Loki. So moving kind of forward with the episode, we do see some her trying to use her powers, her enchantment powers in TVA, but I love the consistency from episode 1. You can't use any of those powers here, so I love that there. But she doesn't need her powers. She can kick a lot of ass, and she definitely did so with those Minutemen. As Loki comes to the portal as well with his daggers, and he's ready to get some information from this variant Loki, but they're kind of disrupted because we get our only other character that we've been used to, which is Renslayer, and she doesn't care about Loki's life because she says, we see, our variant Loki is saying that he's going to kill our Loki, and she's like, "Go ahead, I don't care. I don't really want him here. I sentence him to death in episode 1. So you can go ahead and take him out." So we fast forward and we see our Loki takes them to Lamentis 2077. And this is where we kind of see, this is the heart of the episode. This is where all the episode takes place on this planet. And we see our two Lokis just right off the bat bickering, which, to get into you, Amanda, how did you, speaking of chemistry, we had some great chemistry between Mobius and Loki. But how are you feeling about these two? Are you liking what they have to bring to the table? Are you liking them trying to figure out how to survive this apocalypse?
See, like, I enjoyed the back and forth when he had the daggers in the hallway and all of that. And then once they touched down to Lamentis, I feel like that same back and forth, the banter was like inconsistent throughout the episode when they were there.
Yeah,
it was still like fun to watch them go back and forth. I'm a sucker for banter. I absolutely love it. You know how much I love the banter in Falcon Winter Soldier, besides the point. But like, I love it. And they had solid chemistry. But yeah, there was just something wrong because like they knew that they were on this like planet and they were kind of like wandering around. So I feel like there was like very little structure to this episode, but the dialogue was good. So that kind of carried me through. But for what it was, like I enjoyed seeing them interact.
I think, and I would love to see a triple hit between those two and then get Mobius in the mix to see what kind of banter they have. But yeah, to me, it wasn't until they got into the train that I really kind of jumped on board, all pun intended, for their chemistry. But it was a little rocky at first because, again, this is our first time really kind of meeting this character and really kind of getting a feel for it. But Chris, man, kick it into you, them landing on this planet and just the classic, two people, two opposite people that don't get along. They have to survive and they have to work together. Your thoughts on this banter between the two right off the bat?
Yeah, right. I mean, I expected it to be different than what it was. I don't think Loki was acting like how Loki would really act if he was just, just meeting this person, like, like wasn't trying to really get answers, like just going along for the ride. Like they were just like trying to kill each other. And now they're like doing like the whole buddy thing. It was very weird and like I guess like not very typical Loki. But yeah, to your point, like the episode, you know, I think a lot of people are gonna miss Mobius from this episode, and I don't think she did. I mean, it's a tough, you know, pair of shoes to fill. This guy is a professional. This guy's like been killing it, you know, his whole career, and he gave us a lot of good energy for the first 2 episodes. So I don't know if it's her fault, but she just couldn't, in my opinion, couldn't carry that load of like keeping this good banter up, you know, for episode 3, which is probably a subconscious reason why people don't like this episode as much as the other 2. But it just felt a little off to me. Like I wanted to like appreciate it, this moment, but I just didn't get all the way there.
Interesting. Kay-B, your take on, again, leading up to them landing on this planet, but even prior to that, them having the scuffle with the little Tim Pad and Renslayer not giving a damn about Loki's life, but obviously leading up to this point now with them two having to figure out that they have to work together in order to survive this apocalypse.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that, like, I don't compare their relationship to Mobius and Loki for a number of reasons. Like, I think the idea really in this show is that, you know, everyone's like, oh, they're two opposite people trying to work together. But I actually think that they're very similar. I don't think that they're as opposite as we think they are. And so I think that it's because of those similarities that they're going to have a lot of friction and tension. And I think that that's what we're supposed to see kind of coming across on screen. You know, like they are both reluctant to share information. They're both reluctant to open up. I think Loki's like that in general. Like we've seen that in the MCU. You don't really know that much about Loki as a person. You just know kind of the things that he does, right? And so I think she's supposed to be kind of the same side of the coin in that regard. So for me, you know, I do agree that like when they got on the train, I think there was a little bit more of an ease between the two of them. But I think she just started to let her guard down like a hint, like a small piece. I don't think it was meant to be a lot because I still don't think she can trust him. And, you know, he doesn't think that he can trust her. I just don't think so. Mostly because they both have two different opinions about things. But I also have some theories that there is, you know, another Loki variant really controlling this whole scenario. So
yeah, I'm in the same boat with you too, Kay-B, especially when we get that reveal a little bit later. But Michael, man, again, your take on this, I guess, again, not being the biggest fan of this episode, but what's your opinion so far in this episode of Sylvie? Were you a fan of what she's bringing to the table and the banter she had between our version of Loki?
Well, this is the thing. Since this is the episode that we really are getting to see Sophia DiMartino's version of Loki or Sylvie, like the thing I didn't like more so in the writing in this episode, starting with when she goes to the TVA, I'm like, they made this whole stink about her being the most badass Loki out of all the variants. She's the one that they struggled with the most. She knows how to work their technology. She's able to infiltrate them. Like they had to get another Loki to catch this Loki. And as soon as she gets to the TVA, she doesn't know her magic doesn't work. Like, and she's been in C20's mind and things like that. I feel like she should know that. So I'm like, okay, that kind of lowers her villainy in my eyes. And then when they get to Lamentis and the banter between the two of them, like I like the words, I like the writing of it, but I don't know, like I didn't feel any chemistry between the two of them. Funny enough, somebody actually hit me up and was like, do you think she's a bad actress? And I was like, no, I don't think she's a bad actress. I don't know. I just don't think they have chemistry. And I know when it comes to like acting, a lot of times they'll do chemistry reads. And to me, they didn't do a chemistry read because I didn't feel, and it's not to compare it to Mobius, but because they're different actors, but still at least feel the electricity coming off the screen. Excuse me, when the two of them are together. And so because I didn't really feel that with Sylvie and Tom Hiddleston, like Mobius was definitely missed in this episode.
Like to Mike's point too, like I feel like the way he said it, like they kind of hyped her up to be this crazy badass, and then like when we see her in real life, it's like I don't see her as like this huge badass, like compared to like Loki. Well, yeah, Loki and Thor's sister from Ragnarok. I'm like, yo, like she came on the scene, started crushing shit. Yeah, like you're like, okay, like this is the badass. Like,
yeah,
for this version, Sylvie, I'm not feeling the whole like the lore of what they set up to be. Which maybe then that was a setup too. Maybe they just did that to get Loki, and then maybe
that's what I was about to say. Like, do you guys think that? Because I kind of feel like this is intentional. Like, I feel like it's a slow burn for a reason, you know, like,
hopefully
so do
it
you
is.
guys think we'll build up to that? Because I think it would have been honestly too much to have her kind of come out the gate being
dominating the
quote
situation.
unquote, like what you think. I think we need to lead up to something.
To your point, Kay-B, I think so. First of all, I don't think she's the big bad. I don't think she's the ultimate villain of the situation. I mean, obviously, right now it's shaping up to be the timekeepers, but I think, as Kay-B mentioned, this whole theory, which I'm on the same boat with you, I think there's another Loki that might be manipulating the situation. That's like an expert Loki, like the god of all Lokis per se, which I think might be Richard E. Grant, if I'm not mistaken, as far as casting goes. But yeah, I totally think, like you said, Kay-B, I don't think that they want her just out of the gate, like you mentioned, Chris. Like, hella, she was a villain. She had to come out, blazing glories. Like, oh, you guys don't respect me? Well, I'm going to take out all of Asgard's army. So I think it's purposely done that she's not like a complete, just dominant Thanos level taking these. I will say, though, to Michael's point, I do feel like there's a little bit of inconsistency, and this is just an MCU problem. I think the power scaling is like so inconsistent with Marvel.
Yes.
Like how they can, they're both gods and they're like fighting these people on a train. They're fighting these Minutemen, but they should be able, in my opinion, they should be able to take them out pretty easily.
They look like regular humans and they're struggling.
I'm so on the same boat with you there, Michael. But again, I guess they have to have that little conflict. They have to have, every now and then they can't use the conveniences of not using magic in certain places. But
to Kay's point really quick about, things being a slow burn, and this is the same concern I have with like Falcon and Winter Soldier and even WandaVision. Like, well, we only got 6 up. Like, there's no time for all. Like, we're already at the halfway point, and we're still like having a quote unquote filler episode. Even though I don't think it was filler. Like, there was information that dropped that will definitely play into later episodes. But still, it's like we don't have to, like, you bring in Man of Steel or Batman v Superman. Bruce, there's no time. Like, we need to go. Like, we don't have. So it's like.
I think it's hard because I think it's hard just because of the format that they're doing. In their minds, it's a 6-hour movie or whatever it'll equate to, right? Like, it's a long film versus it being, these independent kind of TV spots. And so, there's always a lull in the Marvel films. I mean, that's just the reality in every single film, right? There's a portion where we're like, probably could have left that out and we could have moved forward and did some other things. And I think that was really episode 3 here. Like, I think that's what we're seeing. Now, to be quite honest, I felt like all of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was a lull. But besides the action, I love the action. But I feel like in terms of plot and driving it, like we always knew Sam was going to become Captain America. So I kind of felt like
could have been an email.
We could have got there sooner.
It's true, though.
But we could have got there sooner. But like at least with WandaVision, even the episode that we felt like might have been a lull for WandaVision, we still ended up on top, in my personal opinion, when we got to the end. So.
And this is why I love these conversations. Just a little side tangent for the whole panel. It might just be me, but I feel like these first three miniseries or shows or what have you, they're like kind of the phase 1 of Marvel. Again, we have an Iron Man that's a big hit, but then we have an Iron Man 2 and and Thor, Dark World. So they still kind of finding their footing a little bit. And who knows, by next year when we get Moon Knight and we get She-Hulk, that I don't necessarily say iron out all the kinks, but do you guys feel like this is kind of a phase 1 of, again, they have incredible filmmakers and TV writers doing these shows, but is there a little bit of a stumbling block for these first 3 series for you guys, starting with you, Amanda?
Yeah, I think so. They've never really done something like this, especially like using Disney Plus and then connecting it to the MCU. So not that I want to say that it's a test run, but they've been playing with the structure of the series itself. Because with WandaVision, you had 9, and now you have like 6 and 6, and the length of the episodes, like they've been playing around with it. So who knows? They may find their footing next year, like you said. There needs to be some sort of balance because I feel like even Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 3 was a lull for me. It was like a random
the Power
episode.
Broker episode, I think.
Yeah, that was the Power Broker. Yeah, it was that one. So it was
Zemo.
it was kind of out of place with what they were doing within the series. And I feel like this episode 3 for Loki, like that's going to be the same one. So hopefully not every single episode 3 is the same because like WandaVision was great episode 3. I love the Brady Bunch one. So yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think that they're trying out different things, different times. Like it could get better by next year. Not saying it's like bad, but it is kind of like a test run to see what they can do within the time frame that they have.
That's so funny you bring up episode 3 of Falcon and Winter Soldier, because this episode kind of plays like that. They go to Madripoor in that episode. We go to this new planet. The enemies have to work together to infiltrate something. That's interesting. Chris, any takes on this phase 1 of sorts of these Marvel shows in regards to just kind of every episode having to live up to the MCU and not just being like a vacuum episode, a character episode, and not being this, jaw-breaking ending and all that stuff? Your take on this phase 1 of these shows, man?
Yeah, I think they have to consider their viewership and like managing fan expectation. I think before all these shows came out, we didn't think that they would be so critical to the storyline. We just were going to watch them to just watch them. Then when everyone started watching them, we realized, damn, we've been missing Marvel for a minute. Like, I want everything. I want, Mr. Fantastic. I want, Mephisto. So then Marvel's got to be like, wait a minute, we were just trying to give y'all some shows, like hold y'all over before like Doctor Strange and the boys come through. So now they have to think like, okay, well, damn, like everybody's watching these things, and the fans are expecting bigger and bigger and bigger. So like, I would imagine they're like, look, people are watching this. We got the budget. Like, let's level it up and see where it goes. But I think it's if this is your trial run, I think they're doing a good job. And if it can only get better from here, I think they're on the right path.
Kay-B, any insight on this kind of phase 1 test run of these first 3 episodes, the first 3 series, and then particularly how Loki's kind of given this presentation to us so far?
I mean, listen, I actually I think the thing that I love the most about what they're doing in phase 1 is having one director do it all. So I actually really think that has been brilliant. And I love that they're doing that. That's actually the thing that I love the most. And while, again, I will say it again, while The Falcon and the Winter Soldier wasn't for me in terms of writing and plot points and beats and what they were trying, like I understood what they were trying to do, but in a lot of ways, I almost felt like it was wildly ambitious and it didn't exactly stick the landing. Like the thing for me with The Falcon and the Winter Soldier will always be the action. I think that like those action sequences were top tier. They reminded me of a Marvel film. That's what I was missing. So I love that. But I think, when I look at it overall, I still don't actually know any more about Bucky than I did from those films, right? Like, so it's interesting to have him be a co-titular character, and yet I'm still like, okay, we still ain't do nothing with him. Like, I mean, that's the reality. So I'm hoping that, with all of these shows and with Loki too, that we focus more on the character-driven portions, because I know just kind of going into phase 4, we're in phase 4, but like moving ahead and pressing ahead in phase 4, everything's going to come to a head, with like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, right? And so in order to get there, I just want to make sure that when I look back on this body of work, that we clearly got there, like I don't want it to be like, oh gosh, well, we could have just deleted, I could have rewatched, like nothing and got here, or maybe I wasted 85% of my time. I don't want it to be, be like that. I'm really excited to see where we're going and what we're doing. And I'm just hoping these shows like help get us there in a good way. So.
And wrapping up this conversation, which again, I love these conversations we're having. Michael, man, just your take on this whole debate of just the working out the kinks, but also just kind of Kay-B's point regarding this kind of how Marvel is giving us these shows, introducing us. So like WandaVision, introducing the Scarlet Witch, Falcon, obviously Sam and Loki, introducing this new side of the MCU. Are we losing the characters in introducing these TVA, Magic, and WandaVision? Maybe what we're getting with General Ross and all that stuff. Is it losing the characters, or how do you feel like they're presenting that so far to us?
That's what I was actually going to go into, and I agree with Kay's point. Like, in the sense of like, even with Loki, like for the most part, we're 3 episodes in. What have we really learned about Loki that we didn't already know? Not much. We're just getting the 2012 version of Loki, learning everything that we already knew, which I was interested in, what they did in episodes 1 and 2. But in terms of like really diving into the characters, like we're not getting any new information. And then I think the biggest problem that they're having with these shows so far is that based on these 3 episodes of Loki and then Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision, it's like they start off strong, but then they start to peter off towards the end. Like I was disappointed with the finale of WandaVision. I was hella disappointed with the finale of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'm hoping, please Jesus, please Thor, Odin, whatever, that I'm not disappointed by the end of Loki. Like, they really need to stick the landing. And then also with that, part of the problem is I feel like with these shows, instead of focusing on the character, they're trying so hard to introduce all these new elements that we're losing what they're supposed to be, what the show is supposed to be about. Like, because if you really think about it, like 3 episodes in, what is Loki actually really about? Like, even like I can't even really tell you.
I mean, literally, the only thing I think of, it's Loki. We're seeing Loki after the events of Endgame. We're following Loki on this adventure of Endgames and being introduced to the TVA. But as far as like you said,
you think we're seeing the Loki from the end of Endgame, and that's the thing too. We don't actually know what timeline we're in. We assume that we know, but I think that we should also assume that we don't know.
That's true.
Like,
very true, Kay-B. Very true. Very true. Yeah. Well, again, and this is, I love these debates, and I think I love that we had this conversation because there isn't a lot to talk about in this episode before we get to the big reveal. But I appreciate you guys going down that journey with me. But just to catch up with the chat a little bit, first off, Brooks, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, and also all 47 people watching live. I hope you guys are enjoying this debate, this conversation of this episode and the MCU in general. So make sure you guys give a thumbs up to the video, sharing the video, and more importantly, subscribe. Follow all these amazing content creators. All their links are in the bio. But to answer Brooke's question, she asked the panel, what if Sylvie was controlling, this is interesting, controlling Loki's mind and none of episode 3 was well, which by the way, I would hate that because I would hate that. But that would be a complete waste of time. But Amanda, just to play, and great question too, by the way, Brooks, but just to answer that question, and I guess that brings up this point here, because this was the next screenshot I grabbed from the episode. But, you know, we see her trying to use her powers on Loki, but he says, what are you doing? You can't use your powers on me. I'm too strong-minded. But what if it was some way, somehow, that she did manipulate, enchant Loki, and this was all made up the whole time? What would you think about that? Starting with you, Amanda.
I don't like that, but I don't like it. But it's a great theory. Don't get me wrong. That'd be really like interesting to see how Loki would react. But at the same time, it's like Loki said that line, and I feel like she had her guard up with Loki majority of the time. And that one conversation in the train, I feel like it just broke down those walls, and they really connected in a different way, and that's why I was so invested in that conversation. But yeah, I don't think she's doing it because she's also like not like flying off the handle. She's just very like not stern with him. Yeah, she's not either. They're both not in control of the situation. But also the one thing that bothered me about this episode is like once they found out that like this planet was getting destroyed or whatever, there was no urgency to kind of get off. Like there was urgency, and then they're like, let's talk a bit, and then let's walk around and see what happens, and then oh my god, we gotta get out of here, and then no, let's talk again. And it was like, okay, well, you have to get out of here. What are you talking about, right? So that was my peeve with this, but that entire train scene, I don't think that she's controlling him in this case, but I just think that they connected on a different level when they had that conversation, which we'll talk about.
And speaking of power scaling, like I thought they had magic. You can't just use magic to recharge the Tim pad. But as I digress, Chris, man, do you have any thoughts on this Inception idea that this is all a dream? This is all made up in Loki's mind?
Why does the Tim pad need batteries? Like,
right? It's like
y'all got
convenience because they have
Infinity Stones as paperweights.
Does it take an iPhone charger? Does it take an Android charger? How do you charge this thing?
Bro, it's like they need a Radio Shack.
Can't Loki conjure up another? I don't know. That's a whole different situation.
I think to answer the question, I think that theory, it's a good theory, but it would be crazy. I don't think Marvel would do it. Then people could really say that was a filler episode. You know, if you got 6 episodes to play with, you don't play with people food like that. So I don't think they would do that.
No, I agree. Kay-B, any thoughts on this dream situation?
Yeah, no, I don't think it was a dream, but I do think it's a good theory. I mean, like I understand how you got there for sure, but I don't necessarily think that it was a dream. I think we're already knee deep into too many different timelines and too many different possibilities to add a dream sequence to it. Because I already feel like we're already dabbling in too many mysteries at once. And so I don't necessarily think it was a dream, but I do. I think it's a good idea. But who knows, honestly? I mean, I think that the point is both of these variants of Loki are powerful, but two things can be true. Both of them are also struggling. So I think that, like,
also true.
You know, they're powerful, but they're both struggling, particularly in Lamentis. And so I am curious as to why, and really even how they got here, or why Lamentis was chosen, you
on
know,
that
like
TemPad,
specifically.
That's a great point. And yeah, it's so interesting. Yeah, the idea that they did start the episode with an enchantment. So Brooks, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
It's a possibility.
Michael, man, any insight on this, man? Was it all a dream?
Yeah, I hope it's not Notorious B.I.G. Like, it was all a dream. I'm just doing Word Up Magazine. Like, no, I would definitely hate that, because I already feel like this episode was kind of pointless. And you find out it's a dream. And I really feel like this episode was pointless. So
we were wrong.
I would hate. But I also agree with Amanda in the sense where she was like, yeah, you felt like this whole planet is about to be destroyed, and you didn't really feel a sense of urgency, not just from the two Lokis, but even the townsfolk. Like, the whole planet is about to be destroyed, and yet you're fighting the two. Like, why are you guys fighting? Like, get off the planet. Like, we don't have time. But the action sequence was cool. I love that good. You know, a one take. It's cool. It was cool to look at, but it's like, what was the point of all this? Like, So hopefully. So in that sense, it would make sense for it to be a dream, because it doesn't make sense. But I hope not. Like, that would upset me.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. Expect the unexpected. But I will say, I guess, just to kind of poke a hole in that theory, we know that when you enchant someone, that she takes the memories of someone. So they have to be familiar with the situation. So we know Loki's never been to that planet. He literally said, "Where is this at? Where am I at?" So I think that kind of puts unless they, a plot hole, but I think that he's never been there, so he wouldn't know, obviously that enchantment wouldn't work for him, because you have to be familiar with the planet. So, but hey, we'll see, Brooks. You might be onto something there. But also, quick shout out to Pound the Pavement with the super chat, and also thank you again, Brooks. But Pound the Pavement.
Elite. That's
Walmart.
Elite.
Kristen Bell is killing me, and Sasha Lang. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate the super chat, and that is hilarious. But thank you so much, Pound the Pavement. But getting back to the discussion here in regards to the episode. A little bit of action here, a little bit interesting way of seeing the different perspectives and how the Lokis use their power. I thought this character was going to be a little bit more significant, but it's just literally a random person. I think the point of this moment was just to kind of show the differences of how we have the Loki using brute force, and we have the other Loki manipulating the situation, pretending to be your husband. But I don't think there's much to this. Who knows? Maybe. Here's a little kicker. Maybe this is a pretend Loki hiding out and using their powers. I don't know. It's Mephisto. I don't know what the point of this character is, and what this point in this moment is, outside of like the two Lokis using their powers completely different. Am I overlooking this scene? Anyone on the panel have any insight on this particular moment here? Is there something I'm missing with this scene?
I mean, there's red in the corner, which could also be the devil. And I'm not even going to
say devil. Hey, Amanda, she did say devil twice.
I don't know. It's a possibility. No, I'm joking. I'm not even going to go there.
I was like, well, there's red over there, so it could be Wanda. I mean, like.
Yeah, chaos magic, huh? Chris, man, any take on this scene? Was any significance to this, man?
I thought she was another version of the Nomadland girl. I thought it was like another timeline. This is probably the weakest scene of the whole episode, in my opinion. This is where like they really lost me, and I don't know if I was just sleepy, but I was like, my eyes were getting real heavy, and I didn't understand. I appreciate the line where he said, that dude, her husband or whatever wouldn't say anything that nice, or whoever that dude was. I was like, okay, I respect that. I get the energy there, but this is. I was like, I don't need this.
Also, though, I was dying laughing because I was like, he really didn't say anything that nice, though. Like it wasn't overly nice. It was like
on the ground.
I was like, I missed you. It's been so long.
And I was like, well, what kind of toxic relationship were you in, girl? Because this was not even that nice.
So bad.
Michael, man, is there anything that we're missing about this particular moment? Is this the character? Is this the villain the whole time? Is she a timekeeper?
It was Agatha. Like, yeah, she's Agatha.
all along, right?
Yeah, it's Bazooka Girl all along. Yeah, going back to what I said before, like I thought it was stupid because even just seeing Lady Loki just instantly, or Sylvie, I should call her from now on, instantly just getting blasted. I was just like, oh, so she's just like another bumbling idiot. Like it just diminished her badassness in my eyes, and with this being the first outing that we're really getting to see her. So I didn't necessarily like this moment, and then this character being what was the point of Leia? Yeah, what was the point of this? It was just like a nothing character. You wasted time. I could have got more information and conversation between the two Lokis. They could have spent on that as opposed to doing this.
36 minutes of an episode. Y'all gave me 6 on this. So
yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. Like I said, the only thing I might be reaching is I think the only point of this scene was just seeing our two different Lokis, how they get around doing certain things. Which, by the way, everyone, and I appreciate you guys letting me know that the Shang-Chi trailer has dropped. So once we kind of wrap up this recap, if we have enough time, because I know Michael has to go to work tonight, we might do a trailer reaction for you guys, a live trailer reaction. I don't think any of us we've been talking on the stream, so I don't think any of us have seen the trailer quite yet. So it'll be pretty cool to kind of get you guys a reaction
his
live.
Boss will understand, bro. This is a big
I was literally just like run over. I haven't been late the whole month. I might
look at our standards.
I was thinking that in my head. I'm like, should I be late? Because I don't want to end this conversation. I'd rather this be my job.
Hey, I hear you, man. I hear you. But so Michael, you did mention something, and this kind of brings us to this next scene. And this might be a bit of a stretch, but the reason I did enjoy this episode, I did find this to be a very what makes a Loki, but in particularly Sylvie. She has a moment where, again, this might be a bit of a stretch, but when Loki says, he calls her Loki, you're not a Loki, and then he calls her a variant, and she says, don't call me that, I go by Sylvie. So to me, I kind of took it as like claiming her identity, and we'll talk about, the bisexual scene that we get with Loki. But it seems like to me, this is who she wants to be. This is the path she wants to go on, which brings me to this question to this panel. And we brought it up last week. And I know there's been some conversation about who is Sylvie? Is she Enchantress? Is she a Lady Loki? Is she an amalgamation of the two? But your take on that, Amanda, her claiming that name, she doesn't like to be called Loki. She likes to be called Sylvie. Any take on this? And again, this whole Enchantress theory going on out there that she is going to be revealed to be that character.
Yeah, to your point, I said this in my review. I think that if she is like the big drop, that she's like Lady Loki or Enchantress, I feel like they did that too early and we still don't have confirmation who she is. But if they're going to reveal that at the end of the series, then like I understand why they wanted to build her up in that way and kind of play it like who is she type of thing. That's why they gave her the name of Sylvie, or else like right off the bat, you can be like, this is Lady Loki, and she could have introduced herself as that or introduced herself as Enchantress. So they're playing around with that. So I think maybe we're going to find out who like she truly is at the end of this. Or like you said, she's just like holding on to her identity and who she is. And the reason why I love that scene in particular is that they're both going into their past. And they're talking about, their mothers and that kind of relationship and their magic and where their magic originated from. So you kind of get the backstory on both of them. And then that's how they connect too. So I think it's just like all about confirming her identity and who she is. But it could be a blend as well. I don't know what they're going to do anymore. But it's everywhere.
Chris, man, your take on this, don't call me a Loki. She does not like to be referred to as Loki. And obviously we'll see why that is. But your take on Sylvie, and again, any build up for this Enchantress, would you like it to be a switch up? Would you like it to be a different character than in what we think it is as a Lady Loki?
Yeah, I'm not sure what I would like, but I appreciate the fact that she doubled down on it, because she said it last episode too, like, don't call me that. Yeah. And I would think, well, my first thought was that, Loki has a bad connotation to the name. So she's like, trying to separate herself from that big bad title. So, right. I think that's part of the reason why she doesn't want to be called that. She's like, no, I'm above this. I'm better than this. And I also thought it was like a joke that Loki, what did he call her? Like a tech guru or something like that. And then he says
tech savvy Loki or something like that.
Yeah. And then he goes, I think it's obviously a joke. Then he says, what do you mean, tech savvy? And then she's like, no, Loki. But it's like, maybe he doesn't understand the concept. Like someone wouldn't want the honor of being called a Loki. So I think that was like a little hidden, plot point there of just like, wait, it's so good to be a Loki. Why don't you want to be a Loki? And then he, because he did say it in the other episode. So it's like, he's still hung up on it. So I think there's going to be some like static there later, but we shall see.
KB, same with you. And again, there's a whole like a weird situation of like the different enchantresses in the comics. One being a more of a Thor villain, one being more of the essence of Loki coming to Earth and taking up this mantra and thinking that she's from Asgard. But would you want it to be a switch of a character? Is there some significance to her not wanting to be referred to as a Loki? As like Chris said, is it something just like don't want that bad, like that name, or is it something a little bit more deeper than that?
Yeah, I don't really have any thoughts on this. I mostly just thought it's because Loki definitely has a negative connotation, but I will say, you know, there is the possibility that maybe she just has not become Lady Loki yet, right? Like, you know, maybe this is her origin story, and maybe the events of whatever happens in this show get her to become Lady Loki. So, you know, that's a possibility. Maybe she is Sylvie, and whoever she is meant to be or will be in the future has not yet come to pass. And so maybe this will help kind of bring that about.
Interesting. And Michael, man, you're the comic book expert, man. Enchantress thing that we've been hearing about this last week or so. Is there any validity to that? Do you think this is Enchantress? Do you think it's Lady Loki, a combination of the both of the characters?
I don't know about expert, but I appreciate it. I'll take it though. But okay, so all right. I made videos about this, but this is my concern, and which seems like they are going this route. Like, I'm actually hoping that she's Enchantress and not Lady Loki, an entirely separate character, because I feel like this is, because, you know, my whole thing and mantra on the internet is talking about representation. And when it comes to Lady Loki, like when Loki is in his female form, he makes it very clear that no matter what gender identity he's in, he's still Loki at the end of the day. And this idea of introducing a Lady Loki, a different type of Loki, it's not our Loki, it's not Tom Hiddleston's Loki, it's a different type of Loki. So it's like, we're giving you the representation, but we're not really giving you the representation. And so even when she's saying, oh, don't call me Loki, call me Sylvie, like if she is Lady Loki, it's like, but that's not representation, like, really. And so like I said, I would hope that she's just ultimately just the Enchantress. And I also feel like in some way, and well, no, actually we talk about the bisexual reveal, because I have a problem with that too. So but ultimately I hope she's just another character and not Lady Loki. Like, because that's all I'll say.
Well, I'm really excited to get your thoughts on, again, that moment from Loki and even the director coming out having a moment. But yeah, it's interesting to see what they do with Enchantress and again, like you just mentioned, representing this character. And again, it's it's interesting that they have chosen to have this new version of a Loki. They have, you know, we're getting Lady Thor, or not Lady Thor, but we're getting Thor. Jane as coming in as Thor. So there's a lot of a change of the sorts of what Marvel's trying to do, and it's interesting to see how they ultimately reveal who this Lady Loki is. But as we kind of, because I'm this Shang-Chi, I'm getting alerts on my phone here, and there's reveals of certain characters. So we're gonna watch this review or this trailer here in a bit. But as we kind of go back to the episode here, we see, which I actually thought was kind of funny, seeing Loki in this guard armor, because it reminded me, he was kind of talking like Captain America to me, being all like kind of, you know, clean and proper and trying to disguise himself. But we see both of them kind of using their powers at once, which is, again, following that scene that we just talked about, shows you again how the different Lokis use their power. But this was kind of when, as I had mentioned earlier, when the episode had kind of really grasped my attention in regards to their chemistry, but in particularly the Loki, our Loki, talking about, again, how important his mom was to him, how she introduced him to magic, how to use magic, how it was, you know, something that he just loved doing, and she was such a pure person. You know, the Loki that we see on screen, this nicer version of Loki, is all due to his mom and how she raised him. But I kind of love that moment. But even going back to, you know, Sylvie talking about it, she doesn't remember her mom. Again, is it the whole Enchantress thing that she thinks she's a Loki and thinks that maybe she's sharing the same memories as him? But that would be interesting to see. But let's just get right into it in regards to the conversation. We have this moment where Loki, you know, for the first time in the MCU, to my knowledge. This he comes out and says that, you know, he is bisexual, princesses, and we even have a little screen grab of the director, Kate, coming out saying that she, you know, one of the reasons she wanted to kind of be introduced to Loki and be a part of this project was to have him be officially coming out as bisexual and being a part of who he is. As she says, is who she is as well. She's happy and loves that it's canon of the MCU. So starting with you, Amanda, the scene as a whole, Loki talking about his mom, talking about love and hate and all that stuff before we get to him being drunk and all this stuff. But ultimately going down to this moment of Loki saying, hey, yeah, I swing both ways. You know, I'm a god, you know, which, you know, it makes a lot of sense, you know, they're not going to just be stuck to one gender. So your thoughts on this scene and also this moment of him coming out as bisexual.
Yeah, I said it before. This is like my favorite scene in the entire episode. And like, I wish it was longer because nothing really happened in the rest of the episode. I enjoyed the conversation, and I like that it was just a regular conversation. It was like him answering that questions like, oh, you were a prince of Asgard, and like you could have had a woman or a man, and then he just like answered it regularly, like as it's in a conversation. So I appreciated that. But like I guess the confirmation being in a show is the one thing that like kind of bothers me, because we've had like 23, 24 films where like you could have done that with Carol, especially on the big screen, as like Michael said before, like you could have done that already. And like, let's not like talk about Joe Russo's little conversation in the circle that he had, saying that he was gay, and like that was just like a little tidbit. Like there should have been more representation on screen beforehand. But yeah, I thought it was a great conversation. It was solid, and I feel like they connected a bit more. And yeah, I thought it was pretty good. That's
Chris, man, your take on this situation, Chris, in regards to this Loki really kind of opening up to her. Again, I think Loki's playing her in a sense, kind of opening up to her and all that stuff, but also talking about his mom, talking about love and hate, and coming out as bisexual. Man, your take on this scene.
Yeah, it was a lot in one scene, and this is the kind of scene that you kind of need to watch more than once, so I need to go back and watch it. But I remember watching it, and I was like, okay, this is the best part of the episode, and it ended up still being the best part of the episode. It does a couple of things. I think number one, it gives another shout out to Loki and Thor's mom, which I think she doesn't get a lot of credit in all the movies,
and she's great.
So I think that was dope to try to like not give her flowers, but like to pay a little homage that she deserves. I like the piece on love. And then I was kind of like, what is this? I kind of thought like, what is this doing in the middle of this episode? But I still didn't care. I just was happy with just like what they were saying. But I was also like, but why is this here? But I was like, this is cool. And then the whole like sexuality thing, I think it's just good for the culture. I'm interested to see why Michael hates it, so then I can start hating it too. But I could just foresee the people, the angry people in the comments, like, why does he have like, I could already hear them chirping. But to me, the scene was good.
Kay-B, same question with you regarding just the conversation leading up to Loki, saying that he's bisexual, but just again the importance of Frida, the importance of his magic, where he learned his magic from. Sylvie, she taught herself magic, all that stuff. But your take on this whole sequence here?
Yeah, listen, I liked the scene overall, but I kind of said this on my show in my review, and I'll say it again. I adore and love that we are getting this reveal about Loki, but I think the transition to get there was very odd. I was like, dialogue wise, I was like, wait, what? Like, and you will 100% miss it if you don't go back and watch it again. Like, to Chris's point, you have to watch it multiple times, because I feel like this reveal deserved, I don't know, like, I guess I kind of felt like it deserved more due, because I did almost miss it in the beginning, if that makes sense.
It was like a subliminal, almost a subliminal.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, what's happening? So then I had to rewind. And then I had to rewind and be like, wait, what just happened? Like, I need to go back and like really take this in. So like, I appreciate it 100%. I just think that like transitionally, when they were discussing it, I kind of was like, wait, what? So I think that like, if you're not paying attention, you will miss it. And it is so important that it should not be missed, if that makes sense. So I was like, I wonder how, like, writing wise, we could have done this in a different way. Because I also think that she wasn't being transparent at all like Loki was, but Loki also hadn't had anything to drink. So it was kind of out of character for him to be so open, especially when she wasn't open. And so then, so I kind of was like, oh, this scene also might have maybe made more sense, like after he got drunk, and just like him kind of sharing his feelings and his opinions, and, you know, because he would have let his guard down a little bit more, maybe. I don't know. But, you know, I'm all about it. So listen, at the end of the day, I feel like we could always use more representation in every single facet. And I'm glad that we have the representation. I just was like, dang, a lot of people probably missed that. Like, I actually think that if you didn't see Kate's tweet, like a lot of people probably didn't even pay attention to it, to be honest.
Like the way that Elliot just described it, like saying Loki came out as bisexual, like that was very clear. Like, but it wasn't like that on the TV show. Like someone in the chat's probably like, "Word, he did." So I think there's a big disconnect with us describing it than what actually happened.
So, Michael, I can't wait to hear your take on it, my friend.
Yes.
Yeah, man. And I guess to Kay-B's point and to the whole panel's point. So, and it's such a, with Marvel, we all know it's years overdue. Black Panther, first led female movie, whether it be Captain Marvel now, 12 years later, you know, Black Widow. It's about damn time. But in regards to how to handle the situation, it is so weird because it is so upverted. It's just like a conversation thing. And it's just kind of like like you just mentioned, KB. If you didn't pay attention to it, you would have never known that. Michael, man, I want to know your take on this. Obviously, that moment, but obviously this scene in general. You know, they're opening up to each other. We hear more about Frida. We hear about the magic, all that fun stuff. But then obviously leading up to that point, man, your take, my friend.
So I will say for this particular scene, I will say it is my favorite scene of the episode because out of the entire episode, this was the most character building that we did get.
Yeah.
We mostly got it from Tom Hiddleston's version of Loki and not Sylvie.
Right.
But we still got it. And so I appreciated that. And I wish we got more of that. But my problem with the whole bisexual reveal is just in general, when it just comes to these movie studio companies and even when Tweet came out, things like that, it's like they want to pat themselves on the back so hard of giving representation and doing this big reveal. News articles, Marvel's first openly LGBTQ character, but it was very understated. And then not only just that, but even during the conversation when Loki was talking about his past loves, like you could see there was some hurt there. There was some pain there. So it's like, 100%. How much better would it have been if we got that reveal by seeing it?
Yep.
Like I don't 100%. Want you to I don't want you to tell me. I want you to show me. And that's really storytelling 101. And that was a big problem I had with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the issues with like the Flag Smashers and everything that they went through and why they want to get the world back together. Like it was a lot of telling instead of showing. And I was like, I would rather get a back episode. So I feel the same way with regards to this Loki thing. It's the same thing with like the Lady Loki. It's like you're giving it to us, but it's not really our version of Loki. So that's why I really have a problem with the reveal. It's like you're telling me, but you're not showing me. And so it's the same thing. I'm like Eternals. I'm looking at you because they're making this big stink of we're gonna have the first major character. It's gonna be. I'm like, and he's a husband. I'm what are they gonna do? Like give each other like a wink, like, hey, that's my husband over there. But like, are you gonna see like an actual intimate, like a kiss, like anything like that? Yeah, I have no faith. I have no faith because they took the scene out of Black Panther. It was supposed to be a scene with Oye. They took out the scene with Valkyrie. They didn't do anything with Captain Marvel, even though they kept teasing it. Like I said, Luca was gay as hell, really being gay. So it's like, yeah, I have no faith in the representation aspect of it. So yeah, that's the problem I had with it.
Well said, man. And again, it's I want to see this be brought up again in this show as far as, again, exploring Loki, Lady Loki, our Loki, and really, you know, showing more than saying. I definitely agree with you there, man. But like you guys said, I think this was one of the best scenes of the entire episode because, you know, there wasn't a lot to kind of pick away from. But before we finish up the episode, quick shout out to Raheem, who says for $4.99, thank you so much for the super chat. So we are ready for Lady Thor, but not Lady Lady Loki ? Hey, I'm excited for more of Sylvie. I'm excited for Jane Foster. Finally, Natalie Portman coming back in the mix. I can't wait to see that trailer and then see the ridiculousness that Taika Waititi is going to bring to us. But any takes on this, guys? We're excited for Lady Thor, but not, I guess, the same for Loki. I don't know if this is a dig at Lady Loki or what, but any takes on this comment here?
I mean, I'm ready for both. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I feel, just because I'm like, why not? And to your point, like Natalie Portman said she was not coming back to Thor.
She was out of there.
And Taika turned it around. I mean, listen, I feel like Natalie, I too was not coming back to Thor. And then Taika got his hands on it. And I was like, so here we are, So here we are.
I mean, I have no problem with there being like a Lady Loki, obviously, but I just have a problem with how they're doing it. But I'm fine. I'm fine with the Lady Loki, but it's very different. Like Lady Loki and Lady Thor, even though they call it Lady Thor, like Jane Foster is she's a completely different character, and that's the point. Right. But Lady Loki is supposed to be Loki, so that's the big difference that at least I come up against. Yeah, like it's still Loki. It's just Loki's presenting himself in a different identity, but Lady Thor, quote unquote, is a completely different character. It's not Thor Odin's son.
Right. Well said, man. And as we kind of move forward on this train, because the train they don't last long on the train. They do get. Again, thank you, Raheem, for the super chat. They get kicked off the train, which goes back to my whole power scaling thing. I don't know how they were able to throw Loki out of a train, but nonetheless, they're off the train now. Unfortunately, the tin pad's broken. We see Sylvie get upset. Loki comes over to her and reminds her that, hey, this planet has never had us on it, so maybe we can change the time and change everything around as they lead up to going to the town. Or I should say, even before that, this is when we get to the big moment of the episode where we see Sylvie and Loki talking. She mentions, she opens up to him to a certain extent and says, hey, I'll give you a little insight of how I enchant people. I go for the weak-minded. It's easy to manipulate them, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to the strong-minded, it's a little bit harder. I got to really dig deep into their memories. Which, speaking of the memories, when I took advantage of that or enchanted Hunter C20, I had to really go back to 100 years to her history. And Loki says, wait, what? 100 years to her history? Yeah, before she was working for the TVA, she is just like us. She's a time variant. They're all time variants. And they have been lied to by the timekeeper. So this is the bombshell of the episode regarding just the narrative of the story of can we trust the TVA and the timekeepers? Amanda, we've been saying it since day one. These timekeepers cannot. There's something stinky up there with those timekeepers, and this is a crack in their mythology and the lore that they have given us. So starting with you, Amanda, what does this imply to the timekeepers? We talk Kang the Conqueror. We talk other Lokis. What does this mean?
Honestly, when they dropped that piece of news, I was so bored that I didn't even catch what they said, to be perfectly honest. And I feel so bad saying that because it's a drop, it's important information, but I felt so bad. I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's what they said. And then I saw on Twitter, they're like, this was the biggest drop. And I'm like, did I miss something? What? I couldn't tell you. I have no idea, but they're shady. We said it from day one. They're shady. Yeah. I'm excited to see what happens in the 4th episode with that drop. Hopefully it moves a bit faster, but they're still on Lamentis. So I'm kind of like, how is this going to play in? Is someone going to find them next step? I don't know. But I do think that they have to name drop Kang somehow. It's impossible. Not even, I don't want to reveal, because I think Jonathan Majors deserves that on the big screen in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. So I don't want it on here, but a name drop. It has to be a name drop. There's no way that you can present all of this and not make a connection to him. So hopefully that happens. But yeah, guys, I missed it. I'm sorry. I completely missed it.
Hey, it's a big moment for sure. And Chris, when you heard this, that the TVA that they're not created by the timekeepers, but there are indeed time variants themselves, and they're I assume most of them are human beings. She said that at least Hunter C20 was a human being, but Does that mean, as we talked about last week, and Mobius and that whole jet ski, that he was maybe a jet ski instructor in his past life, or he invented the jet ski? But what's your take on the Timekeepers not being the creators of these people, of the TVA?
Chris, you're muted.
Oh, I think you muted, my man.
Yeah, we kind of this city is so loud. Sorry, we kind of expected that there was something more to the TVA. So I was happy to get some sort of reveal, especially in like kind of like a quote unquote like slower, more boring episode. I was like, okay, cool, like something more to look into for next week. So I was happy to get that, and just like make them more interesting. We kind of like joked about like the Flag Smashers, how we didn't really care. So it's like I think this makes them more interesting, especially like what we'll find out in like the final 3 episodes.
Yeah.
100%. And it's so interesting now, because now it makes those comments by Casey. What's the fish? Not seeing a fish. So like, I guess, and bringing it to you, Kay-B, are we thinking, it seems like their minds have been wiped. Is that going back to, we talked about earlier, the Loki theory? Is there a Loki that the Timekeepers have in their possession that can wipe the memories of all these people, enchant all these TVA members to think they have a different life? What's your take on this big news of information?
Well, first, Miss Minutes has some explaining to do.
Oh, yes, she does.
What is happening? Okay, but no,
she's the villain. She's the villain.
Yeah, she's the villain. Okay, sure. I actually do really want to see a live version of Miss Minutes, actually.
Yeah.
But apart from that, my theory is that Loki created the TVA. So I think that there is a variant of Loki who created this world that we are living in, that created the TVA. It's interesting. Anytime Loki has a conversation with any of these people in the TVA about the Timekeepers, they can't answer it, right? Like it's always just
classified,
it's ominous, it's like we just are, or it just is, or you're like, that is the most vague. So I do kind of feel like, and I've said this from the first episode when I was watching, I think that there is a version of Loki who has created all of this.
I love it. I love that theory. And I think you might be onto something, because again, it would be, they did say last week that the Lokis have been the most, they've called this the most issues in the TVA, and there's so many different versions of them. And again, even, Renslayer said to Mobius, the Timekeepers are keeping a very close eye to this case. Might go to your point, Kay-B, but Michael, man, your take on this big mic drop of a moment. The TVA have not been created by the Timekeepers. They are regular human beings. Some of them might be good people. Some of them might be villains themselves. But your thoughts on this big moment, man?
I thought this was a pretty big reveal in a very understated episode, but it did kind of get my attention, because I was like, oh, wait, this is what they're doing? Because it's very different than what is in the comics. In the comics, everybody that works in the TVA are clones, kind of like stormtroopers in Star Wars. And so the fact that they are actual people, they're variants, like I was like, oh, okay. And immediately my thought went to a theory where I was like, oh, what if it turns out that Mobius is a variant of Loki, because it would explain why he understands Loki out of all of them. He's so willing to defend Loki, and it's the reason why they have such a close connection. I was like, what if it turns out he's an older version of Loki and he just doesn't realize it? It's not a bad thing. So I don't know. I was like, that might be way that might be way too cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but but I in the case point, I'm hoping that it's not a Loki that created the TVA, because I want Kang to be
responsible for it.
Because I want the three statues that we see in the background as the Timekeepers. I'm hoping that they're just 3 different versions of Kang. The future version of Kang, who becomes Immortus, who's like the Time Lord, the present version of Kang, and then Iron Lad, who ends up becoming the founder of the Young Avengers. So that's what I'm hoping.
I don't think we're gonna get Kang in this.
Well, I don't think we're gonna get him in the show.
Well, no, I don't even think we're going to get mention of Kang. Like, I don't think we'll get mention of Kang until, kind of the next. It's so hard because there's so many different like shows and films that are tying into it.
Right.
And I think they're kind of holding on, to Kang. I think they're still holding Kang in the back pocket. So, so to speak.
That is, go ahead, Michael. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, because the only reason I'll bring it up is because Ramona Renslayer. Granted, I don't know what they're gonna do in the MCU, but that's his lady.
Right.
So
right.
Why not at least have a name drop? Yeah.
And we know
I
last
like the fact that you got these two black people that are controlling time and space.
Controlling time and space. That would be awesome. I love it, man. And I mean, she did, Mobius did point out, she does have her own little field agents and people that she's in communication with that he doesn't know. So it'll be interesting because, Amanda, you do bring up a point. Do we want to see Jonathan Majors make his official MCU debut on a TV show? It might sound cheap, but again, they're pumping so much money. These are movies like we talked about, $200 million movies. Or this could, this really kind of cements them as like, no, you need to watch these shows because you're going to get a Kang reveal. But I'm so with you, though. I want to see him on the big screen first. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting.
You know what?
At least a name drop.
Point, Michael, they may even just put it all on Renslayer, right? And then when we get to another point in time, connect Renslayer to Kang. It could just be this is the only one we're introducing, and we'll toss it all on her, and then we'll see how she's connected later on. Kind of in a different film.
It's more contained.
And also with that, something I forgot to mention, like, I don't think she's a variant. I think out of all the people that work for the TVA, I think she's the one that is not the variant, and she knows way more than she's been letting on. And that's also why I was disappointed that she wasn't even that much in this episode. Like when you saw her grab the little purge baton, I was she's about to fuck shit up.
So you think she's this world's Agatha then? She's the only one that's conscious of what's actually happening. And everyone else is kind of under some sort of spell or
Because why would she be the one that has access to the TVA? Or maybe that's a lie and she is the TVA.
She sets the missions. She's the judge, jury, and executioner. It'll be great. And
remember, she almost caught them at the elevator. She's the only one, she's ready to go. She almost had it.
She sees all.
He does. That's a great point. And that's this comparison is not fair because I thought Sharon Carter as a broker was so underwhelming. But we are to assume that Sharon was under control of someone when she's on the phone with someone. So I like that, Kay-B, that it could be we're thinking that it's Renslayer, but she could be in ties with a Kang later on in the films, which would be pretty dope.
What? Shout out to you because I truly forgot that Sharon was on that phone call. I mean, that's what I mean about the Winter Soldier. Like, how will that tie back in?
Literally the worst character in a show. I can't. Sorry.
The power broker. But quick shout out to Angela here with the super chat as she reads out or she puts a comment here. I always knew the TVA were bad. Why use variants and not actual beings work for them? Keep up the great content. Love from New Jersey, which I know got some New Jersey love on here from Michael. Yeah, that's what's up, Angela. Thank you so much for the super chat. And that is a great point. Why use these variants, these people that have kind of, and also too, just to be fair, when you're a variant, doesn't mean you're an evil person. It doesn't mean you're a Loki or a Thanos or a King of Conqueror. It just means you literally have you're out of your timeline for good reasons, for bad reasons. As the time Miss Minute says, you could have literally went on a train and diverted to another, got a job promotion, whatever the case would be. So they don't necessarily have to be like villains of villains, but I'm pretty sure there might be maybe some bad people that might have been variants in that TVA. But again, it's a very good question. Why use the variants to run all this? So can't wait to find it out. But as we kind of wrap up.
But real quick to throw some shade, getting Jersey love. I just wanted to say, Chris, Jersey got better pizza than New York.
Ooh. Said no one ever.
You guys are funny. But as we wrap up the episode, again, I thought that seeing Loki using, which again, we never seen him do this in the movies, but he's able to stop a building from crushing him and Sylvie, which I thought was pretty cool. They go to the Ark, but ultimately the Ark blows up, leaving us with a somewhat of a cliffhanger. How in the hell are they going to make it off this planet? Starting with you, Amanda, as we wrap this episode up, we know they're going to make it. This spoiler alert, they're going to survive. But how are they going to survive is the question. Is it a TVA member? It wouldn't make sense that the TVA would save them because they've been wanting to kill both Lokis this whole time. So is it another Loki that's going to save them? Is it Renslayer? What's going on? What can we expect next week? Or Mobius,
it's one of the three that you just said. Obviously, I really want it to be another Loki, just because what you said about the TVA, it would make more sense. But again, like, I was ready for this episode to be over with. So like, how do you want to say it like that? I feel so bad. I had fun watching it, but like, I was just ready to go. But yeah, the tracking shot was cool. But again, like, we got magic, which was awesome. We got their
A lot of it,
powers.
yeah. Mhm.
And it's like when they needed their powers the most, it's like, well, where the hell are they? Like it was all convenience this episode. But the one thing with episode 2 and going into episode 3 that bothered me is like we saw the alarms go off, we saw the branches and like the sacred timeline was crashing and all that. Where the hell was that in episode 3? So they completely forgot about all of that. And I'm like, that's why this episode was like, it's such a weird placement.
It's a detour. Yeah.
It's like exactly, it's a detour. And like I get they went to literally another planet, but like at the same time, it's just like you can't forget all of that. We were so hyped for episode 3, and then you completely, take that off the grid. So yeah, I mean, this episode was fine. They're there. Something big has to happen in 4. It has to, like, someone has to come. And like, if it is Renslayer, like, I'll be okay with that. But I would like another reveal because like Richard E. Grant is there in the cast. He doesn't have a name. We don't know. So we'll see what happens. Yeah.
And it's so interesting too, to your point, Amanda, we saw that, the time bombs that she put into the multiverse. Could Lamentis be affected by that? Could her dropping a bomb be somehow? As we're thinking Loki and her going to die, her effects actually save them, and maybe they're saved from Lamentis. Maybe doesn't get wiped off the map. So we'll see. But Chris, man, your take on this finale, this cliffhanger? Is it Wanda? Captain Marvel going to stop through and save the Guardians? Going to save them? Who's going to save our characters here?
Hopefully, it's Rocket.
Rocket. I mean, as I said, that would be so awesome, but obviously that's probably not going to happen. But.
Yeah, it'd be cool if it was a reveal, like a new person. That'd be dope. But if I'm trying to be like realistic and put my just common sense hat on, maybe it's just I would just see Mobius coming to save the day again, and just bring us back to that that banter that we missed in episode 3, and then have him justify it in some way that he's still trying to chase Loki and try to like get him to help out. So I could see that happening, but my personal preference would be to have like a new third party that comes in that we're just excited to see. But yeah,
that would be interesting. And also too, I wonder what are the ramifications of those that are enchanted? Do they have a piece of that person that enchant them? So C-Hunter maybe can connect to wherever that Lady Loki is, or B-Hunter-15 can know, like they have a sense of where they are. I don't know. We'll see. Kay-B.
Yeah, I mean, because like Mobius made a big deal about like how like Loki's plan worked about chasing these Armageddon. So that maybe he's just like, well, you told me. It's like Home Alone 2 when she finds him at the Christmas tree. Like, you like Christmas trees? I came to the biggest tree that they got.
Yeah, we'll see if Mobius puts 2 and 2 together. But Kay-B, your thoughts on who's going to save our 2 characters? Is it going to be another Loki thrown into the mix, or are they going to just make it out themselves?
Could be another Loki. Could be Hunter B-15 partnering with Mobius. It could be. I mean, truly anything is possible. I haven't actually thought about it because I pretty much just want to see what's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, I want to see more of Hunter B-15 working with Mobius because, they tend to often differ in their approaches. So, maybe this is the time that they band together to get this variant of Loki. Who knows? But I am ready to see episode 4 right now. So,
Can't wait. Michael, man, final take on who you think is going to save the day. I'm just trying to think of any way. Could it be the Tim pad? Could it be a tracker you can track, even though it's broken? Maybe they were following it at one point. Yeah. But your thoughts, Michael? Who's going to save the day?
I mean, it's obvious they were on a hell-like planet, and so Mephisto's going to be the one to save them in the next episode.
Give me your souls.
Michael.
Michael said, "This is the hill that I will die on."
I want Mephisto, but no. As far as who's gonna save them, I mean, I don't know. I think it's and even with the way this episode ended, like, it's a cliffhanger. It's like, come on, guys, we got through, so we know it's not the end. Like, this is a terrible cliffhanger. But as far as who's going to save them, part of me is it seems like it's going to be Mobius, but part of me is kind of hoping it's not Mobius, because if the whole thing was to kill Sylvie and she's on a planet where she's meant to die, why would they save? Like, why would they go there to try to save her? Like, that wouldn't make any sense to me. But it seems like that might end up being the route. But I would hope I would actually like to see another Loki show up, because they showed and teased all the different types of variants of Loki. I want to see the different variants of Loki. But going back to the screenshot that you show with the magic and things like that, like I don't know. I like the action sequence, but I was just like, seeing Loki, like he threw a Kamehameha blast at one dude, and then him holding up that whole building, and he basically put the building back. I was like, where the fuck was all of this in 3 Thor movies and 2 Avengers movies? Like, we didn't see any of this level of magic and sorcery with Loki. And like, you would think he's fighting like one of the most powerful gods of all time, Hela. He didn't do any of that fighting Hela. He just threw some daggers at her. So I'm just like, the power scaling, it just felt very weird. And in the comics, yes, Loki is a very powerful sorcerer, rivaling Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom, Mephisto, throwing that in there. But we've never seen him do that in the MCU. But then all of a sudden you get to this episode, even in the first 2 episodes of this show, we hadn't seen him use any type of magic. Even trying to take out the timekeepers, he didn't try to use any type of magic when he was first attacked by them. He again took out his daggers, but if he got telekinesis, he can fucking shoot energy balls and all that. I'm like, all that, where was this before? It's like, I'm like, wait, did he get mind wiped? Because did he forget how his powers work?
I mean, to be fair, I also was thinking, where was this energy on the train? Like, I mean, just in general, where was this energy? Like,
power scaling in the MCU is very kind of inconsistent.
And then we're probably gonna get the next week's episode. We're not gonna see any of it.
Right, they're gonna completely forget how to use magic.
Probably.
And last thing, because I did see a theory going online, like, oh, the reason he was able to do that with the building is because he was using the time stone. And I was like, I don't think he's using the time stone. Like, we've seen plenty of times that the time stone works in a very specific way, and you have to do certain movements. Even Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet had to like turn his wrist, and we didn't see it in that. And also with the way we saw with the Infinity Stones, we saw when they were paperweights, they do not work outside of their respective universes. And those universes we know have been pruned. They don't exist anymore. So even if you did somehow take the time stone, they wouldn't work, which is why they are essentially paperweights.
Now, is that necessary? I don't know, because again, I don't know where we are. Like, I think maybe that's the point. I personally don't think he had the time stone, but in terms of how the Infinity Stones work in this realm and how time works in this capacity of what we're looking at, I think we got to be open to the possibility that things may be different from what we originally know the Infinity Stones could do in what capacity, what they can do here. Because I think that this is just a whole different ballgame when it comes to time and how things are manifesting, I think.
That's true.
That's true. And I had a clip that I wanted to play. I don't know if you guys saw this. I think it's a little bit spoilery. I don't know did you guys see that Sylvie featurette this morning? Anybody see that? I kind of want to play it, just kind of get you guys' thoughts, but it does have like a bit of a spoiler in there that I don't want to spoil anything for you all on the panel as well as the people in the comments. But I'm kind of on the fence. Is this something you guys would be open to seeing potentially?
Like, who she posted it? Like, what?
I think
Marvel put it out.
Marvel posted it, but I haven't watched it yet.
If
Marvel posted it,
let's see it. Okay, all right. Well, this is Sylvia. The kind of Sylvie. They give us a little featurette. So enjoy, guys. Let's talk about it once we're done. But let's check it out.
Tom's talking about the mischief because she's another version of Loki, but it was important to make sure she was unique.
Because she's Sylvie, she's not Loki.
What exactly makes a Loki a Loki?
Independence, authority, style.
Awful throw.
Loki comes face to face with Sylvie and wants to know more. A few questions.
You're in my way. The audience will be intrigued by Sylvie's arc and the backstory.
It really just sets the groundwork for this character.
The universe wants to break free, so it manifests chaos, like me.
Sylvie is going to leap into the MCU with extraordinary energy.
People are going to love it.
Expect the unexpected.
So, based on that, guys, I don't know if you saw some of the little spoilery situation going on there, that it appears that Sylvie has been to the TVA before as an adult and also as a kid. Does that put any wrinkles to the situation now that Sylvie maybe has been mind wiped herself, that she doesn't remember the TVA? Starting with you, Amanda.
It's a possibility.
Like I said, when I saw this, I'm like, that is a bit of a spoiler to show little Sylvie. It could be a mixture of things. It could be another variant version of Sylvie, but they made it pretty clear that she's been to the TVA before.
Yeah, and she also has dark hair in that clip, number one. Yeah. And then well, she doesn't remember her mother either, so that's also a possibility of a memory wipe. So, yeah, I mean that is pretty spoilery. Marvel, why would you like why? But yeah, I think that's a possibility. They could have wiped it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it explains maybe some motives. If the timekeepers manipulated her, took away from her mom, did whatever they did to her, that makes a pretty good reason why she's been planning for years to get back at the TVA. But again, she doesn't know the TVA that we know of. But Chris, man, you're taking that little featurette. Again, to me, it's setting up like, guys, be excited for her because this might be your next Loki in the MCU in the films. But your take on that little featurette, man.
I think that featurette was better than episode 3.
Facts.
It got me. I was like, damn, hold up. It got me hype. I was like, damn. I love the little featurettes. They're always good. So, but I really have no idea like what it means. But I thought it was well done, and it gives more excitement for the 4, 5, 6 that we got coming.
Yeah.
KB, based on this little featurette, again, we see that she's been taken into. Now, again, this could be after whoever saves them in next week. This is what this could be Sylvie being taken in by the TVA, or it could be her in the past. Who knows? But the thing that really stood out to me was her as a little kid. But your thoughts on Sylvie's backstory here?
I'm indifferent.
Yeah.
Just got to see what happens in the show. I think Marvel definitely has a way of putting together certain cuts that could literally mean not a single thing that you think it does. And
Very
so
true. Very true.
I just need to see it whenever it comes out.
And we know Marvel in trailers, they give us literally scenes that are not in movies and shows. But Michael, man, your take on if we're assuming this is baby Sylvie, and we're assuming that this is Sylvie being brought in by the TVA at some point, your thoughts on this featurette?
Yeah, just like what Chris said, like when I watched that trailer, I was like, ooh. I was more excited about that than all of episode 3. But also with Kay, like, I don't know. I don't really have much to say because I'm like, I don't know what's happened. Like, how much of that is going to play into the story, and then I don't really know what the story is. So it's like, I don't know what's going on. But I wasn't that surprised to see young Sylvie because I did see on IMDb that they did cast a little girl, and I was like, who else would this little girl be playing but a young Sylvie? So that surprised me. Who would go that route at a certain point, and I would actually be curious to know if she's going to be the Loki that we're going to have from this point on. Because I had a theory that I thought that we were going to get, like, with the Young Avengers and things like that coming, we were going to get Kid Loki, and that was going to be the Loki that we're going to have for the rest of the.
Well, Michael, you just opened up a door. That could be Kid Loki.
This could be the Loki that takes down all the Lokis.
Exactly.
This Kid Loki.
There's so much.
See, this is why we have these discussions, guys, to kind of theorize and bounce ideas off each other. But guys, look, that's going to be the end portion of this review. Before we head out, I got the trailer lined up here for, again, I'm not a big trailer watcher, even though I'm excited. Apparently, Halloween Kills trailer just dropped tonight. This was like the most random night to drop trailers. But we do got an MCU trailer to maybe discuss here as I kind of key it up. I know Amanda and Chris, we watched the first trailer here live, and also Michael was on that panel too. But KB, are you excited for Shang-Chi coming out this September?
Absolutely. Cannot wait. Truly.
So
and cannot wait to see how Loki ties into it. What we learned from this series. That's my favorite thing on earth. How do these things tie together? MCU, tell me, Kevin Feige. So I cannot wait to see how this is going to tie into everything that we're going to see in this film. I'm excited.
Well, guys, if it's okay with you, let's check out this trailer that Marvel dropped on us tonight. And I assume we're going to get some story beats, some cool martial arts. So without further ado,
get some magic.
The 10 rings gave our family power.
Uh-oh.
Throughout my life, the 10 rings gave our family power. If you want them to be yours one day, you have to show me you are strong enough to carry them.
You are a product of all who came before you. The legacy of your family. You are your mother. And whether you like it or not, you are also your father.
told my men they wouldn't be able to kill you if they tried. Glad I was right.
You're just a criminal who murders people.
Be careful how you speak to me, boy.
I thought I could change my name. Start a new life. But I could never escape his shadow.
My son, you can't run from your past.
Ooh.
Is this what you wanted?
Let's go. Let's go.
That's awesome.
You got this.
Oh,
Wait.
yeah. What was that?
Was that Abomination?
Was that Abomination?
I think so.
Yo.
Rewind.
Hold on.
You got this.
Yo, that's
yeah.
This is Abomination. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, that's unexpected.
And he's supposed to be in She-Hulk.
He's supposed to be
right?
a She-Hulk, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so we got this Mortal Kombat tournament of villains and different characters that we might haven't seen in a while. Okay, sign me up. I was already excited for this. Amanda, while I kind of gathered my thoughts, your first initial reaction of this this new trailer, which gives us a little bit of the story. You know, he changed his name. He doesn't claim his father's name, his mom, and maybe they escaped that past. Your take on this new awesome trailer?
I'm so excited. It looks so good. And then the 10 rings, like all the special effects. Goodness. Oh my God. Mind blown. It looks sick. And like the music too, the song that they use throughout the trailer, like really just brings it all together. But yeah, it looks sick. I'm so hyped. Even more hyped than before.
Chris, man, we watched this, the first teaser that we got back in Falcon and Winter Soldier a couple months ago, man. Where are you at after seeing this new official trailer with a little bit of story beats?
Yeah, this is fire. And it made me sad because like this is what Mortal Kombat could have been. Mortal Kombat's not whack. In my opinion, it's not whack, but I'm like, damn, like y'all really gonna get sunned in the same year. And I mean, this looks much better than Black Widow. And I don't want to, put them against each other, but this is elite.
This is the first time we're seeing martial arts actually being used in the Marvel. Again, we got magic in Phase 4. We're getting hand-to-hand combat, true hand-to-hand combat. Oh man, Kay-B, man, how are we feeling after watching this first official trailer of Shang-Chi?
Love it, absolutely adore it.
Michelle,
cannot wait to see it. Yeah, Michelle, my queen Michelle, love her, adore her, cannot wait. I just look at us manipulating the elements. Like, I'm so hyped for this. Yeah, I already know it's gonna be everything I want more, so I'm not actually concerned. Like, I'm at all. I'm like, when it comes to this feature film, I know that I will 100% be satisfied. I'm not even worried. So thank you. Send it to me early if y'all got it, guys.
Yes, manifest that right away. Michael, man, we got to talk about it, my friend. We got let's look at this. Look at the visual effects. Is that a dragon? I mean, we got dragons.
Colors.
We got
great
great colors. My man, Dustin Crinton, I think is his. If I'm pronouncing his first. 12 short term 12 Just Mercy. He's a fantastic director. He does so great with characters, but now you're giving him a Marvel budget to introduce these characters, to introduce the martial arts to the MCU. How we feeling, Michael?
I'm hella like, this is a better live action version of Avatar: The Last Airbender than that. But like, you see fire bending, earth bending, water bending, like, and it looks great. Like, and then that little 10 seconds that we got, I'm like, if the whole movie is Simu Liu shirtless, it's already a perfect for me right there. So I need more of that. But I will say, Kay-B was saying that she, I know for a fact, or she knows for a fact, 100% she's gonna have no problems with this movie. I will temper my expectations just a little bit, only because I know David Callahan is writing this movie, and he was part of Wonder Woman 1980. Yeah, I got to. But he wrote, speaking of Mortal Kombat, he wrote Mortal Kombat.
Yes, he did.
that movie, which was not that good. And then he also was part of the writing team with Wonder Woman 1984, which I'm like,
now, Michael, why you have to go around?
Why you had to do that,
gotta break perspective.
I'm not gonna say you ruined it. I appreciate you giving the people the info.
I'm still super excited though.
Right. But you are just doing your due diligence and giving us the facts. Like,
we don't.
I appreciate you.
I'm trying to look up too, just to see if there's any redeeming factors to his resume. He was a screenplay writer of Dune, 2005 Dune. We all remember that with The Rock. The Expendables.
I don't remember it, to be honest. So I don't know what you're talking about.
I didn't see that.
Expendables 2.
Yeah, he was like
a screenwriter. Story was giving credit to him for Godzilla. He had rewrites to Ant-Man. He wrote Zombieland, Double Tap, as Michael alluded to, Wonder Woman 84, Mortal Kombat, the new comedy with Chris and the new motion picture, the motion picture, the animated Shannon Tatum comedy film on Netflix. So he's a little bit all over the place. And then tap that with he's apparently the writer of the new Spider-Man film, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. He's going to be one of the writers on that, and also Hercules. So Hollywood likes this guy.
Ant-Man was
all over the place.
Yeah,
the first Ant-Man had all of the elements that I had enjoyed. So that's the only one I heard, though. Some of those I was like, I've never seen this.
Fair too. He's one of 3 writers. Dustin Daniel Critton is also a writer, and another gentleman by the name of Andrew. All Marvel films have like 3 or 4 writers as it is. So hopefully, Michael, they took all the great stuff that he's good at and just ironed it out with some of the other people. But this is looking great.
I'm hoping for with this being the martial arts movie, he's the master of kung fu. That's his moniker in the comics. I want like the raid levels of martial. Like I want it to be that scene that we all remember in Winter Soldier times like 1 billion.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping.
I agree.
That's what I'm definitely hoping for this movie. Yeah,
we're right there with you, man. The raid is come on, man. That would be incredible. But ladies and gentlemen, this was such a fun discussion about Loki. We tried to make the best of an episode that was a little bit lacking in points, but I had such a great time discussing this episode with you all, and of course doing this reaction to a little featurette as well as the trailer that we just watched. So rounding it out, starting off with my special guest Kay-B. Again, I can't wait to have you on again. Thank you so much for giving us your time tonight, breaking it all down. But where can the people find you, and what's next on the agenda as far as content we can look forward to?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was so fun. I love talking about this type of content, so happy to join anytime. Again, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Lady Kay-B. That's TheLadyKayb. And you can subscribe to my YouTube channel through the lens of Lady Kay-B for all of the content that I do. And you know what is next? So I had an interview today with Tyrese for Fast 9. Nice. And so that will be coming out here soon. And, Ted Lasso is coming out in a month, and I had some of those interviews today as well. So you can stay tuned for that coverage coming down the pipeline.
Do yourself a favor, guys. Check her out. And I just got to ask you, Kay-B, did Tyrese tell you that he's going to be a Green Lantern in DC? Did he tell you that the DC and the MCU are in the same universe and Morbius is going to be fighting Blade next year? Did he tell you that in the interview? Or we just have to find out?
He did that. We really stuck to Roman's growth and his character arc in Fast 9 this time. Gotcha. But I know Tyrese wants to be in a superhero film. I mean, that's all he really talks about, to be honest. This is his dream come true. So I really hope that one day he gets that opportunity in some capacity, whatever it looks like, who knows? Honestly, we might see Tyrese in the TVA.
Please God,
he's another Loki.
I hope not.
He might be a version of Loki. We don't even know.
Hey, he I don't know if you guys know, they recasted Kang, and it's not going to be Jonathan Majors. It will be Tyrese. So Michael, man, my friend, so glad to have you back on, man. I had such a great time talking with you tonight. Where can the fine folks find you, and what's next on your awesome content, man?
Like I said, as always, Elliot, I always appreciate you bringing me on the stream. Can't wait to come back again. Hopefully, it'll be a much better episode the next time I come back. I love it. But yeah, like you guys can find me Black Gay Comic Geek across all social media channels. As far as what's next, honestly, I don't even know. like I mentioned earlier, I need to get out my Luca review, but every time, like, I'm about to go to work after the stream, and I work overnight, so every time I get off of work, I'm like, okay, get your review out, but I'm like, I'm going to sleep, I'm tired. So maybe that'll be next. Be on the lookout for that. I'm not going to say when, but also I got a screener for Masters of the Universe. Can't talk about it yet, but that's also coming down the pipe. Yes, and then I know definitely we're gonna be talking about Loki episode 4 next week on my own channel. I go live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Seems like the whole internet goes live at that time, so maybe I need to change the time. But as of right now, I'm going live next week at 7 p.m. So be on the lookout for that, and check out my TikTok.
Nice.
Guys, check out his TikTok, his Instagram, his YouTube. All the great stuff that you want to see is on his platform. So to Kay-B and Michael, thank you guys for tuning in and then coming in. I can't wait to have you guys back on the channel. And I can't go without thanking my amazing co-host, Chris, man. Where can the people find you and what's next on Tait's Take, my friend? Yes,
for sure. The people can find me at Tait's Take. What's next? I got a video dropping in a couple hours for that 3 a.m. drop, new show on Netflix called Sex Life. Just don't let the kids watch it. Is all I gotta say about that. I'm still cooling off.
Steaming.
Yeah, that thing's different. But yeah, I really appreciate the platform that you put on, not for me and Amanda, but just for the whole community and really the people that I met through this is insane. The amount of energy you got in the comments, whether it's 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, like the energy is the same week after week. So like that's a testament to you and the people you bring on here. So just want to say thanks again and just keep it rocking.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. I can't wait to have you back next week, my friend. And again, check out his info is in the bio. Stay up to 3 a.m. Watch that. Subscribe to his channel. Give it a thumbs up. All that fun stuff.
We could talk offline about Sex Life.
Listen, we go. Look, listen.
Are we talking? I don't know if you guys saw. What was it? 365 DNI 365.
Listen,
that was
3 a.m. 3 a.m.
I was like, I don't even know. I was like, I don't even know what y'all talking about.
This is the X-rated. We are a little late. It's a little late.
This is the adult version of the show.
This isn't Disney.
Is it past 10 p.m. Eastern?
Exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna hit you on. Okay, I'm gonna hit you on the Twitter. We're gonna talk about it.
And last but certainly not least, Amanda, thank you so much for coming in. I love the energy, love the hot takes, love the swag you're bringing to the platform. Thank you so much for being on as an amazing co-host. But Amanda, where can people find you and what's next on your platforms?
Well, first of all, I love these discussions. Everyone on this panel is amazing. Please subscribe to them, follow them. They're all awesome. They have great reviews and great insight. And they're so entertaining. I love following all of them. But yeah, this is a great discussion. You guys can always find me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I don't have anything spicy like Chris coming next, but I have an interview that I'm going to write an article for Rebel Hearts, which is a documentary that was at Sundance, and I was able to interview the filmmakers and two of the subjects. So that's dropping tomorrow, and Rebel Hearts is dropping tomorrow on Discovery Plus, which I was very fortunate with that opportunity. I was very happy about that. Probably Fast 9 coming up. I have Zola coming up, so I'm really excited. You guys can always check out my YouTube channel, Candid Cinema, and my website, candidxcinema.com. You guys are all amazing. Love you all.
And again, for Amanda, Chris, Kay-B, and Michael, guys, their links are in the bio. Follow them, subscribe, thumbs up, share, everything you can do. Do it because you will not be disappointed. These are amazing people, great content creators, and I'm so glad we were able to have this discussion tonight. So, guys, we'll be back next week talking episode 4 of Loki when Kang appears and the Guardians appear and all that fun stuff. But, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching this on the replay, thumbs up, share, leave your thoughts in the comments. It was a fun time, and I can't wait to have you guys join the conversation again.
Also, real quick, make sure you guys go out and buy issue number 1 of Static. Milestone is returned.
Nice.
Black writers, black content
yes,
creators, black superheroes, Earth M, Earth Melanin. So yeah, Static. If you want a Static movie, you want to see a expansion, more black superheroes, everything like that. Go support Milestone.
Yes, sir. Well said, Michael. Nice. And there's no better way to end it on that note. Guys, have a great rest of your night. Michael, you have a good night at work, even though I know you don't want to.
I won't.
Yeah. No.
I'm sleepy. I just want to go to sleep now. But no, 11 to 7:30. So yeah.
Putting in that work, man. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. You guys be safe, and we'll see you all on the next video. Take care, everybody.
Ciao.